Dear students, let us continue our study in this paper, which is forensic chemistry and explosive, and in these modules we will continue with the study of alcohol. In the previous module you have seen that how the beverages are classified into various types, and especially the alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. And it is the alcohol which is, when it is more in content, that you have these alcoholic beverages, that is more than 0.5%, and it is the alcoholic beverages that we will be studying more in this module, and we will be focusing on the fate of alcohol in the human body. After studying this module, you shall be able to know what are the changes that alcohol undergoes in between its ingestion and elimination. We will try to understand the chemistry of alcohol metabolism and about the enzymes that are involved in alcohol metabolism. We will also see and understand what are the different factors that affect the alcohol metabolism in the body. So, let us begin with discussing the fate of alcohol in the body. So, first of all, if you look, there is the absorption stage, that is absorption of alcohol. Alcohol appears in blood within a few minutes after consuming an alcoholic beverage. It is absorbed through all the regions of gastrointestinal tract by simply diffusing out into the bloodstream. However, due to its very large area that is available for alcohol absorption, small intestine is a way ahead in its efficiency to absorb alcohol as compared to any other organ of the gastrointestinal tract. And that is the reason why when a person consumes alcohol, only about 20% of the absorption of alcohol takes place in stomach and remaining 80% is actually done in small intestine, and its level in bloodstream starts rising thereof. After absorption, the alcohol gets dissolved into the water content of the bloodstream. Alcohol is then carried out throughout the body via blood, and from blood the alcohol is carried to all parts of the body, which then enters and gets dissolved in water that is present inside each and every body tissue except the fat tissues. And why it is not absorbed in the fat tissue? Because alcohol will be insoluble in fat, that is why it will not enter, but wherever there is water in our body, it will enter everywhere. The alcohol, we can say, is evenly distributed throughout the watery content of our body. And once the alcohol absorption is complete, equilibrium occurs so that the blood at points in all the system contains approximately the similar concentration of alcohol. Those parts which are low in water content, like bones, fat, hair, etc., contain a very little amount of alcohol as compared to the absorbed quantity. Now, that is the reason why if blood is not available in some autopsy situations, as the case may be, the medical examiner should look for those organs which are rich in water so as to determine the body alcohol content with a reasonable degree of accuracy. So, this is very important point for you as forensic scientist to consider. When all the alcohol is absorbed, the blood alcohol concentration reaches to a maximum and the alcohol starts exerting its effect on the body. The effects so developed are in the proportion to the BAC, which in turn is dependent on the amount of the consumed alcohol. Effect of alcohol continues till the ingested alcohol remains in the body, and after the initial stage of absorption, a post absorption stage is followed in which the level of alcohol in bloodstream, it starts decreasing until a level of 0 is reached again. So, if we go further, we can say a blood alcohol curve is actually generated by the combined effects of absorption, distribution and finally its elimination. And this this curve you can see is representing these three important phases, that is, the first phase as shown here is the absorption phase, then the next one is the distribution phase and next one is the elimination phase. So, dear students, we will continue the study of this, that is the metabolism of alcohol and finally what happens, what is the chemistry behind, with the help of graphics and visuals.
Next, moving on to metabolism of alcohol. Liver is the primary place of alcohol metabolism in body. Liver cells contain alcohol dehydrogenase or ADH, which converts alcohol to acetaldehyde. Other enzymes like acetaldehyde dehydrogenase in turn convert the acetaldehyde to water and carbon dioxide as which are eliminated from the body. The four enzymes taking part in alcohol metabolism are alcohol dehydrogenase or ADH, cytochrome P450, catalase, and acetaldehyde dehydrogenase. All these four enzymes are found in different parts of the body and each has its own way of handling the hydrogen atoms that are knocked out of the alcohol molecule, alcohol dehydrogenase. The name alcohol dehydrogenase is self-explanatory if it is broken down into its components parts. D is a prefix which means to remove. Ase is a suffix used for enzyme. So, dehydrogenase implies an enzyme which removes hydrogen atoms, and alcohol dehydrogenase refers to an enzyme that eliminates out hydrogen atoms out of alcohol molecule. ADH is the abbreviation of this enzyme. ADH breaks down most of the consumed alcohol. Liver and stomach are the primary workplaces of ADH. However, traces of this enzyme may be present in some other tissues as well. ADH metabolizes alcohol into acetaldehyde by removing a hydrogen atom, which in turn gets bound to a compound named NAD plus or nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide to form NADH, that is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide hydrogen. Next, moving on to cytochrome P450 2E1. Alcohol dehydrogenase metabolizes nearly all consumed alcohol in social light drinkers in the same way as discussed. Contrary to this, cytochrome P450-2E1 becomes highly active in chronic heavy drinkers in metabolizing the alcohol. Liver is the workplace of CYP2E1. The hydrogen released by this reaction gets attached to NADPH and oxygen to form NADP plus and water. This is an endothermic reaction. Now moving on to catalase. Catalase is found in peroxisomes all over the body. Catalase converts alcohol into acetaldehyde and the hydrogen released during this process gets attached to hydrogen peroxide which later becomes water. Now acetaldehyde dehydrogenase. Mitochondria are the workplace of acetaldehyde dehydrogenase. It removes an hydrogen atom from acetaldehyde to form an acetic acid radical, which finally gets converted into water and carbon dioxide. Immediately after consuming an alcoholic beverage during the absorption phase, blood alcohol concentration or BAC shows a sharp rise and reaches up to a maximum level, which in turn is proportional to the amount of alcohol consumed. Typically, the alcohol concentration reaches to a maximum level within 1.5 hours after consuming it. After this, alcohol starts diffusing into the body tissues, leading to a quick decline in BAC. This phase is known as the distribution phase. Finally, BAC falls even more slowly during the next phase, that is, elimination phase. However, there are a number of factors that affects the shape of the blood alcohol curve like body size, gender, type and amount of beverage ingested, duration of drinking, fatigue, and the presence of food. These factors largely control the peak and timing of the blood alcohol curve. Moving on to elimination of alcohol. Alcohol is eliminated out of the body through excretion. Liver metabolizes about 95% of ingested alcohol through its oxidation into acetaldehyde, then to acetic acid, and ultimately to water and carbon dioxide. Remaining is eliminated through breath, sweat, urine, saliva, and breast milk. During the period of high BAC, about 5% of the alcohol is exhaled in breath and another 5% is eliminated in urine, with negligible amounts excreted in feces and sweat. Generally, a healthy individual eliminates alcohol at a fairly constant rate. As a thumb rule, a person eliminates about 7 to 12 milliliters of alcohol from his body per hour, with an average of about 9.5 milliliters per hour. Now, moving on to the factors affecting rate of absorption. First is weight. The more fluid and mass in the body, the more diluted the alcohol in the body will be. So, if we consider a case of two individuals with almost similar composition of body but different weights, the alcohol concentration will be lower in more weighted individual even if both have consumed the same amount of alcohol. Next is level of fitness. For persons of the equal body weight, a person with higher fat content will be affected more by the same amount of alcohol than a well muscled individual, as the fatty tissue does not have a high water content, so it doesn't absorb much alcohol. Hence, more amount of alcohol goes into the bloodstream. Now, moving on to gender. In case of women and men of the same build, height, and weight, women tend to have more fat and less muscles than men because the water content of the muscle tissue is higher than fat tissue. A given amount of alcohol will become more diluted in man as compared to women, resulting in earlier effects of alcoholism in women than in men. Women have less of the enzyme dehydrogenase that breaks down alcohol in the stomach, contributing to higher BACs than men drinking the same amount of alcohol. Hormone levels also affect the body's ability to process alcohol, and women will experience high BACs drinking their regular amount of alcohol right before menstruation. Women tend to have higher percentage of body fat and a lower percentage of water. Next is age. An older person will be affected more by consuming the same quantity of alcohol, as with age the total water content of the body starts decreasing. Next is exercise. The metabolic and breathing rate of the body increases with strenuous exercise, which accelerates the flow of alcohol across the lung membranes and cause a faster exhalation of alcohol through faster breathing. Now, moving on to tolerance. Tolerance is a broad term which is generally applied to the diminished effectiveness of any drug due to heavy or prolonged usage of that drug or any similar drug, which is often termed as cross tolerance. Generally, two types of tolerance are associated with alcohol. The first type of tolerance is metabolic tolerance, in which the usual metabolizing rate of alcohol tends to speed up to 72% more quickly in case of chronic intoxication. As a result, the higher metabolic rate in chronic alcohol consumers, a usual lower alcohol concentration is achieved in comparison to the average person even after consuming the similar amount of alcohol. The second type of tolerance, that is functional tolerance, is a type of tolerance which implies that there is an actual change in the system or organ's sensitivity towards alcohol. Other factors influencing the rate of absorption are: first is concentration of alcohol. In general, a rapid absorption results due to higher alcohol concentration. When this concentration ranges between 10% to 30%, the absorption of alcohol is most rapid, as below 10% the activity of the gastrointestinal tract is low, resulting in slower absorption, and on the other hand, concentrations more than 30% may irritate the mucous linings of this tract and the pyrolic sphincter, which may accelerate the secretion of mucus and thereby delay the gastric emptying. Next, moving on to type of drink. Carbonated beverages tend to accelerate the rate of alcohol absorption. Next is drinking speed. The height of the blood alcohol concentration, or BAC peak, is proportional to the speed of alcohol consumption, as liver can only metabolize alcohol at a speed of about 10 grams per hour. Next, moving on to drugs. Certain drugs, especially sedatives like sleeping pills, etc., may enhance the effects of alcohol. Next is food. Alcohol absorption is faster when the stomach is empty. When the stomach is empty, the consumed alcohol is rapidly passed into the most efficient area of its absorption, that is, small intestine. Drinking alcohol is generally accompanied by some foodstuffs in order to delay this stomach emptying. The rate of alcohol absorption not only depends on the presence of food but also on the type of food. Foods with higher fat content require more time to leave the stomach. Consequently, taking fatty foods allows absorption of alcohol to be completed over a longer period of time. And lastly, emotional and medical conditions. Various medical conditions may affect one's alcohol tolerance. For example, recent disease, fatigue, or any kind of emotional trauma makes people more susceptible to the effects of alcohol. Next is illness. If you are sick, there is a good chance you are dehydrated. This will result in a higher blood alcohol concentration. Dehydration can also make your liver less efficient at eliminating alcohol. You may also be taking medication that is also going to increase the effect of the alcohol, leading to problems. Now, moving on to fatigue. Fatigue causes many of the same symptoms as intoxication, which is going to magnify the effects of the alcohol. If you're fatigued before drinking, intoxication will intensify these symptoms. This occurs because when someone is fatigued, the liver is less efficient at processing and or eliminating alcohol, leading to the experience of a higher BAC than normal. Next, moving on to mood. Mood can affect the way one reacts to alcohol. Slight improvement in mood occurs at a BAC of approximately 0.02 to 0.05. At about 0.07, mood begins to deteriorate. For someone who was feeling depressed or anxious before drinking, these feelings can increase or become exaggerated. Stress emotions such as depressions, anxiety, and anger can also cause a change in the enzymes in the stomach and how one may process the alcohol. Now, moving on to medications. Because alcohol is a drug, it should be treated no differently than taking any two prescriptions at the same time. It is important to know the drug interactions and consult with the physician for mixing any medication with alcohol. Many times, students are unaware of the effects of drinking alcohol on medication. Certain medications, such as antidepressants, should never be mixed with alcohol. An interaction between alcohol and a drug is described as any change in the properties or effects of the drug in the presence of alcohol. Drug interactions may be: first, additive. The net effect of the drug taken with alcohol is the sum of their effects. Next is synergistic effect. The effect of the drug when combined with alcohol is greater than the sum of their effects. And lastly, antagonistic. The effect of the drug is diminished in the presence of alcohol. For example, certain painkillers and cold medicines can have a synergistic effect and can multiply the effects of alcohol up to 10 times. Since the liver is responsible for metabolizing drugs other than alcohol, potentially dangerous alcohol drug interactions can occur in both light and heavy drinkers. If you take prescription or over the counter medications, ask your healthcare provider for advice about alcohol intake. Recognize that even herbal medicines and supplements can have adverse interactions with alcohol. Let us learn how to estimate blood ethanol concentration. To calculate estimated peak blood alcohol concentration or EBAC, a variation including drinking period in hours of the Widmark formula was used. The formula is EBAC is equal to a factor of 0.806 multiplied by SD, that is, number of standard drinks containing 10 grams of ethanol, and multiplied by a factor of 1.2. This factor is divided by BW, that is body water constant, which is 0.58 for men and 0.49 for women, multiplied by body weight in kgs. From this whole factor is deducted the product of MR, that is metabolism constant of 0.017, and dB, that is drinking period in hours. Regarding metabolism MR, in the formula, females demonstrate a higher average rate of elimination than males. Female subjects on average had a higher percentage of body fat than males. Additionally, men are on average heavier than women, but it is not strictly accurate to say that the water content of a person alone is responsible for the dissolution of alcohol within the body, because alcohol does not dissolve in fatty tissue as well. When it does, a certain amount of alcohol is temporarily taken out of the blood and briefly stored in the fat. For this reason, most calculations of alcohol to body mass simply use the weight of the individual and not specifically his or her water content. Finally, it is speculated that the bubbles in sparkling wine may speed up alcohol intoxication by helping the alcohol to reach the bloodstream faster. A study conducted at the University of Surrey in the United Kingdom gave subjects equal amounts of flat and sparkling champagne, which contained the same levels of alcohol. After 5 minutes following consumption, the group that had the sparkling wine had 54 milligrams of alcohol in their blood, whereas the group that had the same sparkling wine only flat had 39 milligrams. Let us learn this by an example. If a 80 kg male drinks 3 standard drinks in 2 hours, then by using the formula of EBAC, the value can be calculated in grams per deciliter. Similarly, a 70 kg woman drinking 2.5 standard drinks in 2 hours can calculate the EBAC, the value in grams per deciliter.
So dear students, in this module where we have discussed the fate of alcohol, that is focusing on alcohol metabolism and how the various factors are dependent, because it will be varying from person to person. Let us summarize what we have learned in this module. We have learned that after ingestion, alcohol passes through 3 stages, namely absorption, metabolism and then elimination. When a person consumes alcohol, only 20% of the alcohol absorption takes place in stomach, and this is very important point to remember, that the remaining 80% of this absorption is carried out in small intestine and its level in bloodstream starts rising. Liver is the primary place of alcohol metabolism in our body. Liver cells contain alcohol dehydrogenase, that is ADH, which converts alcohol to acetaldehyde, that is CH3CHO. Ethanol, you know, it is C2H5OH, an alcohol, and it is converted to the corresponding aldehyde, which is acetaldehyde, that is CH3CHO. The 4 enzymes which are involved in alcohol metabolism, you should always remember, they are ADH, CYP2E1, then we have catalase and acetaldehyde dehydrogenase. So, these are the 4 enzymes which are involved in alcohol metabolism. And we also studied that there are a number of factors which will influence the absorption of alcohol in our body, and they are age, sex, body weight, level of fitness, etc. So, all of them will be influencing. So, you cannot say that every person will have the same rate of metabolism of alcohol, it will vary depending on all these factors. And then we studied how the estimation of blood ethanol concentration can be done by Vidya-mitra formula. So, dear students, I am sure that now you are clear about how the alcohol is metabolized in our body, and we shall continue the study of alcohol in the next module.